So good morning everyone from Singapore and welcome to today's webinar, The New Wave for Functional Beverages. First of all, I'd like to introduce the Glanbia Nutritionals team today, starting from our presenters. Firstly, we have Vicky Flegel, our Senior Global PSM. With 20 plus years of experience in the food and beverage industry, Vicky focuses on functional ingredients and technologies for the dairy and RTD categories. In Glanbia, Vicky is responsible for managing new product innovation from ideation to commercialization for global markets, as well as supporting existing product areas. Next, we have Shari, the research manager in AsPac. Based in Glanbia's Singapore Collaboration Center, Shari's area of focus is application, aiming at nutritional fortification for a variety of food and beverages, including bars, functional beverage, and sports and nutrition. Now, later in the session, we'll also be joined by Gerald, Glanbia's Director, Dairy PSM, as well as Edgar, Commercial Director overseeing Southeast Asia, India, Korea, and international key accounts. And finally, we've got Farida, that's me, and Eating, who's behind the scenes holding the fort. So a little bit of housekeeping before we start. And your mics will stay muted throughout the whole event. And please ensure that you're able to view this presentation on your device. And if you encounter any issues during the webinar, just raise your hands and we'll attend to you privately. And to pose questions to our panelists, kindly expand the questions tab on the dashboard if you're using a desktop, or if you're using mobile, there are question marks on, there's a question mark button on each of the screens. So you should be able to type out your questions in the space provided at any point during the webinar, and we'll attend to them in the Q&A session. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Vicky, who's going to kick off this the presentation. Vicky, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction, Farida. I'm going to keep my camera off just to keep the distractions down and really focus on the presentation. So I'll chime back in as soon as I'm done and we have some Q&A in the back. So I'm just going to dive right into it, Farida. So I'm just going to ask you to maybe go to the next slide. Perfect. As mentioned, my name is Vicky Flegel, and I'm the Global Product Manager for our beverage category. In the next 20 minutes, I will take you through how we view the global beverage market, some key trends and growth opportunities in beverages. We've been focusing on understanding the beverage landscape market for the past number of years in building out a unique portfolio of products to address the market needs. And I will explain some of these trends, and Shayu will take you through some application challenges and solutions. Perfect. All right. When you look at Glanbia, we have many portfolio offerings in the beverage category. We categorize them in different product areas, and within most of our product areas, we have a beverage offering. This is important because not all ingredients will easily go into a beverage system as you're dealing with various pH levels and processing conditions Shayu will introduce you to. Today, we will specifically focus on proteins, on the protein side, but as we work within Glanbia, we often pair proteins with other ingredients such as vitamins and minerals in other specialty products. Next slide, please. This is just a brief overview of Glanbia's evolution in the beverage space. We have developed specific ingredients that function in the beverage system throughout the years and continue our innovation in bringing new, unique products to this space. I won't go through all of these right now, but hopefully you'll provide a sense of that evolution in our brand names that we will touch on later in this presentation. Now I will take you through the global beverage market and how we at Glanbia view the market. In totality, the global beverage market is about $183 billion, and we are seeing continued growth in the next number of years. So this is how we view the market. I call these sub-beverage categories that define the functional beverage market. You'll see the global market numbers in the next slide, but this is just to define those categories. So you have your energy drinks, and these are in descending order in terms of market value that drives the functional beverage market, followed by yogurt beverages, which is primarily driven by Asia, Sports drinks is the next category, such as Gatorades and Powerades. Then you have your dairy alternative beverages, such as soy and other plant milks. The sports protein beverages, such as meal replacement drinks, nutritional protein, and performance protein beverages, primarily represented by milky protein beverages, such as neutral pH or often called low acid beverages. And then you have your functional juices, which are juices with additional proposition and benefits. You have your functional waters, such as vitamin or coconut water is a good example for those. And then you have your functional carbonates. So this is a new emerging category, the carbonated beverage area. We'll touch on that later in the deck as well. And then finally, you have your functional teas and coffees. These are the same subcategories with the size of each market. This is a global perspective, but the key to focus on are the forecasted CAGR, or compound annual growth rates, for the next 4 years. The market is projected to grow to about 250 billion by 2026, with all the categories growing between 6 and 7%, except for the functional juice markets, which are still growing, but at a slower rate. And we'll talk a little bit about why that is in the next couple slides. Primarily, it's actually due to the high caloric and sugar content in these type of beverages, but it's changing and evolving, as we'll see some trends that are happening right now. When we actually isolate specifically the sports protein RTD, which represents about 9% of all sports protein products, those category growth numbers are even higher at 9% growth rates in the next 4 years. So this slide is a little busy, but essentially this is what our consumers are saying about functional beverages. When asked how consumption habits have changed over the last 6 months for your traditional beverages, such as carbonated drinks and juices, those tend to be consumed less, while functional beverages such as functional waters as well as sports drinks are consumed more frequently. That makes sense with big focus around health and wellness and the idea that beverages can increase a healthy lifestyle and provide more benefits. On the bottom, is primarily the reasons consumers are purchasing these type of drinks. Most of as well makes sense. We drink water, for example, to quench thirst. We drink energy drinks to provide more energy, and so on. But similarly, protein drinks are often linked to increased levels of energy, and that's why I would say your more mainstream type of consumers tend to gravitate to those type of beverages. Next slide, please. Perfect. Now you have this category beverage view by market. As I mentioned, energy drinks drives the market globally, but in Asia, yogurt drinks drives the AsPac market, represented by the orange line here at $27 billion in annual sales. The Asian market represents about 70% of total global yogurt beverage sales, so it's a pretty significant number. And this is certainly the market we want to pay attention to in the next number of years. This is a similar view, but just represents the AsPac market, which is about $75 billion and projected to grow to be $97 billion and represents about 40% of total beverage market as a whole. So you can see the size of the yogurt drinks in comparison to everything else with even stronger growth rates potential. Again, we see this decline in the functional juice space, but it's starting to turn around in some markets with better and healthier, more nutrition propositions with lower sugar content. What I do want to highlight is this, just back one more, sorry, just wanted to mention one more thing. What I want to highlight is the sports protein beverage, forward one, sorry. There you go. What I do want to highlight is the sports protein beverage market has the highest growth potential at 7.9% CAGR in the next 4 years. This is certainly the place we want to focus on and accelerate product offerings in this space. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little about trends in the beverage market space as a whole. Next slide. Here we have 5 beverage trends to pay attention to. So I'm going to take you through them. The first one is living drinks focused on probiotic cultures and fermented products. Drinks like yogurt and kombucha would be examples of those, addressing digestive health or gut health trends. Secondly, you have your powerful proteins. So just in general, proteins in the beverage market as a whole. The third across, you have more caffeine to boost energy claims. You have fuel for brain on the bottom there, brain health and beverages that support memory and cognitive function. And then lastly, you have your cross-category nitro infusion. So nitro infusion driving the functional carbonated beverage space. And you see some examples, global market examples there on the side as well. And next we have a slight poll. Farida, so I'll turn it back to you to do the poll.
Okay, so we're just curious to know which of the global beverage trends that we listed just now most appeal to you. So if you could just click on which one. Is it the living drinks, powerful proteins, more caffeine, fuel for the brain, or cross-category nitro infusion? Right, good. Living drinks are leading the poll right now, as well as fuel for the brain. Not so much the caffeine though, which is interesting. I would go for caffeine. All right. Awesome. Looks like a lot of people are paying attention. We've got a lot of responses at the moment. All right. Okay, so now that we've seen what it looks like living drinks is the most popular trend, Vicky. So we'll share in the next few slides what you can watch out for as consumers.
Okay, great. I think we'll see some examples of that. Thanks. Great. So now I'm going to continue with some trends in North America that often drive the global trends. The first one here, blend functional with familiar. Mainstream consumers are ready for functional drinks, but they need something that they are familiar with, such as waters or juices or coffees would be examples of that, to drive that trends versus something completely different, such as kombucha or kefir type of drinks. The second trend here is around keeping the benefits coming. The more benefits we can call out, the more interesting it is to consumers. Consumers want many beverage claims in one single drink offering, which just makes it very challenging from a formulation standpoint. And then lastly, we have expand the offerings to older consumers. Focused on the elderly as we have a large aging population who right now prefers food over beverages. So certainly an opportunity down the line. Next slide, please. So these are just some recent launches in the US that tap into some of these trends. So again, I think we'll find something around gut health and living organisms here as well, but let me just kind of walk you through these. So the first one here is the focus drinks, water with benefits that provides energy and helps focus. The second, Soul Boost, is focused on stress release. My Muse is focused on immunity with enhanced antioxidants. And then you have your kombucha drink with Revive with probiotics. So that's certainly living organisms and probiotics focused on gut health. And lastly, you have Rogue, which is a CBD drink offering stress release. So a lot of these mood drinks are popping up in the market today. So how is that different from trends we see in Asia? So here, I'll walk you through those. This is pulled from Mintel. The first one here is make functional drinks easier to drink, make them more palatable, taste better, and have better texture that could potentially tap into new consumers. Shots is a great example, could be a good way to get some great benefits in small formats where taste is less important. And then right now, there are more powders in the market than ready-to-drink beverages, specifically in Asia. And when you find that relevant in the sports protein space, RTDs, however, are more convenient and easier to drink and help gain more consumers and tap into that convenience trend for sure. As we saw, Asia is very strong in the dairy drink category. Here is an interesting relationship between some of the claims found in dairy drinks and how that can relate to other functional beverages. So on the left-hand side here, you can see the claims often found in dairy drinks. And then the right-hand side are some industry examples. So similarly, vitamin, minerals, calcium, and protein can be used across other beverage categories as well. We know AsPac consumers are becoming more familiar with functional health claims, especially as we're still dealing with the pandemic. We pulled some claims from Intel as well, as it deals with digestive health, immunity, vitamins, and fiber, and got a sense from the different markets what consumers think. We heard about different products launched focused on gut health, and we know that, for example, 29% of Chinese consumers have consumed more drinks focused on digestive health. We know immunity has been very relevant, especially with COVID still being very predominant. And 90% of Chinese consumers have increased their awareness of immunity. 33% of Thai consumers have consumed more vitamins than before the pandemic. And finally, 31% of Japanese consumers are tapping into plant-based drinks and increasing their fiber intake. So what does that all mean for protein beverages and why is that important? This last section focuses on increased opportunity in the protein beverage space as it relates to the functional beverage market as a whole. The interesting thing here is the protein beverages are now across all the sub-functional beverage categories that we reviewed in the previous slides. You will find things like protein coffees, protein teas, as well as protein energy drinks. That market continues to grow and has the most amount of growth potential for Asia. Specifically in Asia, we see high protein RTDs growing at about 4.5% growth rate. We know this market will continue to grow, so this is just a nice visual of that accelerated growth. This is a by country view of high protein launches. We see markets such as South Korea, Australia, and Japan with high amount of protein RTDs launched in the past 4 years. And we see other markets that have high potential as they're not as highly penetrated. So a good example for that would be China and India. These are big markets with fewer protein RTD launches. Next slide, please. Great. So this is just going a step deeper in looking at protein ingredients, which are commonly used in RTDs. Globally, on the right-hand side and the diagram there, you see milk proteins are predominantly used in neutral pH, low acid, milky type of beverage, which dominate the sports protein RTD market because they tend to be more heat stable. Whey proteins are used in small amounts in milky beverages because they don't have the same heat stability and are typically used for nutritional claims. Whey proteins are also more commonly used in yogurt beverages, driven by the Asian markets and clear protein drinks. And in general, whey proteins have superior nutritional composition as well as awareness from sports consumers. So we think there's a big opportunity for whey protein across all these beverage segments. We as Glanbia are always looking for market gaps to help address the demands from our consumers and the needs from our customers. I have hopefully provided a market overview with some overreaching market trends and big opportunities for the Asian market. Now my colleague Shayu will take you a step further and discuss functionality challenges working with proteins, specifically whey proteins. She will take you through some of these applications and introduce you to our product ranges such as Optisol and Bevwise, and with hopes on unlocking some of these new beverage opportunities. And with that, I will pass it back to Farida and Shayu. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Vicky. I'm sure we'll have some questions from the floor that we'll go through during the Q&A later at the end. In the meantime, before we go on to the next segment on product development with Xiaoyu, we'd like to hear from you again. So here's another poll. What's your biggest hurdle when it comes to developing your functional beverages? So if you could just share with us some of the problems that you might have. Is it functionality, taste, formulation, ingredients, or format? Looks like taste is leading, as well as formulation and ingredients. So I've got quite a bit of responses right now. Taste is definitely one of your key concerns. All right, so let me just share. So we have 55% of respondents saying that taste is your biggest hurdle, and followed very closely by formulation and ingredients. All right, so now that we know your challenges, let's continue with the presentation. So I'll hand it over to Xiaoyu, please.
Thank you very much, Freda and Vicky. And now I'm going to talk about protein beverage product development challenges, consideration from an R&D point of view. So first of all, on the first slide, here we know that whey protein has a superior nutrition value. So it has been recognized as one of the most high quality protein that is available because it is highly digestible, complete amino acid profile. It supports muscle growth because it's very rich in BCAA and leucine, so that it has been long recognized by food formulator like us to use it in fitness, strength, well-being, or healthy aging, weight management. And also, like Vicky have mentioned earlier, that it has been very well captured in the sports nutrition space, as well as in some mainstream food applications. However, when we see whey protein, although it has a very superior nutrition value, we commonly see it appears in RTM format in the beverage category, and high protein RTD that is still dominated by milk protein. So why is that? This is due to whey protein's functionality. And if we want to tap into this white space to open this huge potential, then we will need to first understand what is whey protein's characters. So whey protein have a good water binding capacity. It is a very soluble protein. It has good emulsification property. It also tends to form. However, whey protein also have a very unique functionality. It's a very heat acid stable. It does have a limited heat stability in the neutral pH as well. pH is a very important parameter for beverage development, and especially typically so that we look at the category separate into two types, high acid beverages and smoothie, yogurt drinks, and low acid beverages. For example, we have our typical sports protein drinks, milk replacement drinks, some milk-based beverages. So now let's take a closer look about how whey protein behave on the pH scale for the pH scale for the beverage development considerations. Whey protein have a very unique character. It is highly soluble at a wide range of pH. So let's see this graph on the right up corner. So this is a test we've done internally to compare whey protein, casein, and soy protein. So as you can see, whey protein is still highly soluble at the low pH range, and whereas casein and soy protein is have poor solubility and could become completely insoluble around the pH 4. You can see here some pictures, and we made 10% WPI solution at different pH point, and we give it a heat treatment. So first, let's look at the low acid, high acid, low pH range. You can around 3, 3.6, and pH 4. So you can see at pH 4, it is still appears a bit cloudy. And as we decrease the pH further to 3.6 and 3, you can see the solution become more and more clear. And meantime, it also become more heat stable. However, as we drop the pH, it will also come with some astringency. It is give us some flavoring challenges. When we look at the other end of the scale at around neutral pH, where whey protein will have quite limited heat stability after heat treatment, and you can see it is become insoluble. So heat is a very important factor to consider when we make whey protein-based beverages. A 10% WPI solution after heat certainly gels and cannot become a beverage anymore. And sometimes there's also other things that happen during when protein is unheat stable and during heating. So for example, it can become more grainy texture. Protein fall out from the solution. It may form gels instead of stay in a nice liquid, and or maybe the viscosity will increase and it become too difficult to process. So these are all the challenges we may face during the processing. So sometimes hydrolyzed protein can help the protein increase its stability, but it will result in a poor taste and very challenging for us to mask it. Phosphates, sometimes we use it to help to gain some heat stability, but there's also have its limitation, and it certainly doesn't look very nice on the ingredient label to achieve our clean label goal. So it is very important for us to watch out protein denaturation during the product development. Protein can lose its structure and denature when it applied with the heat, pH, or physical force or salt, and therefore it loses structure and may start to aggregate or sediment or have a phase separation or gelation may happen. So there are some common considerations and challenges during the functional protein beverage development. So first of all, sedimentation and gelation may happen immediately or during the course of shelf life that we will need to be careful monitoring. Poor emulsification can also lead to product phase separation. Viscosity is a very important factor that, we gotta choose the right protein to achieve our desired formula viscosity, and also we need to be careful process it properly so that it doesn't add too much of viscosity for our product. Hydration and proper hydration is critical before we process so that protein can stay soluble in the solution. And lastly, whey protein also tends to form, like we mentioned earlier, so it could become a challenge during high share mixing and cause some headaches during production. Additionally, there are some other beverage formulation variables to keep in mind. First, acidity. So as little as a 0.1 pH unit, it can really have a significant impact in, in process gelation and clarity for our protein beverages. Minerals. Some minerals can tend to interact with protein, so it is we need to be a bit careful when we add minerals to our protein beverages, or we even need to watch out our water source at the plant. It may have cause some instabilities. Sugar types, and there's many different types of sugar we can choose, and they have also different impact on the taste and clarity of our drink. Fruit juices, extracts, and tea and coffee extracts. And these natural extracts are sources of polyphenol compounds, and it is very easy to interact with protein and may cause some loss of solubility. So we need to be careful to eliminate them or pay attention when we're doing the product formulation contain these extracts. Processing equipment are very critical for our beverage development. Protein is sensitive to heat, and it is the total thermal amount load to the product that is very critical for us to consider. So generally, we would want to have the shorter time and high temperature in order to have a better quality product. So now, with the understanding of whey protein's character and considerations with the challenges we may face during beverage development, and Glanbia Nutritionals have overcome these functionality challenges, and we designed a whey protein product that will be able to incorporate into the high protein RTD space. So on the low acid area, we will have Beverages. It is a pre-acidified WPI, and we also have Optisol 105 can work on the intermediate type of beverages. At the low acid beverages range and neutral pH, we have Optisol 107, which is a very unique product that addresses the limited heat stability of whey protein. So with an ingredient innovation, we can finally make whey protein-based RTD possible. So I'd like to share with you the specific category in a bit more details. Now, first, let's look at the low acid beverages, and we recommend you to consider this product called Optisol 107. So I mentioned that Glanbia is used the technology to really understand and manipulate whey protein's character. So we developed Optisol product that have a very unique gelling property. As you can see, it gels differently like a conventional WPC. So there's some experiment we have done to show you. We make a 5% protein solution and let it go through a retort process, 121-degree, and heat treat for 15 minutes. It is pretty harsh. So you can see conventional WPC will gel and have clots, and it doesn't become a uniform, homogeneous solution anymore. Whereas the Optisol 107 is still very nice liquid. And if we continue increase the protein concentration up to 7%, as you can see after the heat treatment, conventional WPC will gel completely and cannot make a beverage anymore. Whereas here, Optisol 107 can still stay in the homogeneous liquid form. So what is Optisol 107? This is a very heat stable WPC that designed for neutral pH beverages. It performs really well at the neutral pH and have a superior heat stability, and most importantly, have a very good shelf stability. So it can really help us to extend our product shelf life. It can provide us a consistent viscosity over the course of shelf life. And most very interesting is it can formulate beverage drinks without requirement of stabilizer. So unlike milk protein or casein and most of these high protein beverages we have seen in the market today, a lot of it are require a stabilizer to make the stable system, whereas Optisol 107 is possible to achieve without stabilizer. And I will share some concept with you specifically shortly. And we also have done a lot of in-house study to study Optisol in combination with milk protein and against milk protein. And we are happy to share on if you are interested, we can have follow-up discussions. So in our study, there's a few interesting findings. So for example, in combination with milk protein, Optisol can help to reduce age-related gelation, and it can also help to decrease the sedimentation level. So this really help us to address some shelf life considerations for high protein beverages. And Optisol is cold soluble, and it can give us some convenience during process. Earlier during the poll, and we have seen taste is a very important consideration for product developers. So Optisol 107 have a very good taste and flavor. It's very easy to formulate. It is one of our favorite ingredients to use to develop protein beverages. So next, I'd like to share some concept with you that we have worked on and have already gone through some shelf life monitoring. So it could be a very good starting point for you to consider for your product. So this one, first of all, is the bone health drink. It's a 15 gram whey protein, 100% whey protein in a 250 gram serving size, so about 6%. And we also have added milk minerals and vitamin K and D. So it will be a very nice concept to use for bone health, where you can market it for like kids' optimum growth or healthy aging. The next concept is a high protein coffee. This is a 15 gram whey protein, 100% whey protein, again in a 250 gram serving size. It gives you an excellent taste with a very nice natural coffee extract, and we use a coffee extract from Indonesia, and it can be a very suitable concept that to use for on the go morning breakfast or afternoon pick me up coffee drink to provide you some caffeine and energy while give you a high protein. Also, again, 100% whey protein concept that will give us opportunity to utilize it into the sports nutrition and weight management space. And Optisol 107 have a very good stability. And I want to call out here, as you can see, the ingredient statement, very simple. And we made this concept without stabilizer. The next concept to share is addressed for the immunity trend we can see after COVID especially. So here, 15% of high quality whey protein, again, we formulate around 6%. And this is a very good tasting whey protein drink, thin texture and very easy to drink with some immunity vitamin premix so that we can address our immunity needs. And we also used a popular flavor in some of our markets in the region, a melon flavor. And again, this is also a concept we were able to achieve with Optisol 107 without any stabilizer. And the next one is a high protein milk tea with a peach oolong flavor. We know in Singapore, we like to drink milk tea, and likewise in some other markets in Asia. And so this is something like Vicky mentioned earlier, blend functionality with a familiarity. So we have been able to protein fortify with whey protein from milk tea to give you a better for you protein drink. So again, this is a concept we used some natural tea extract, and also it is able to achieve without any stabilizer. For our high acid beverage range, we will recommend you to consider Optisol 105 and Beverages. So the first concept is featuring product Optisol 105. So 105 is a product that quite similar gelling, unique gelling property like what we share with 107. What is unique about 105 is it can work for a wide range of pH. And here, this product is at the intermediate pH. So intermediate pH is a very headache range with protein. So commonly we will see some challenges with stability, whereas the Optisol 105 was able to develop a very nice drink with a very refreshing, a bit yogurty taste. So this is acidified strawberry drink we made with natural strawberry juice and with Optisol 105. Very good for sports recovery or breakfast concept. We also have a Beverages. Beverages is our pre-acidified WPI. So during the early session, we shared that at the low pH range, when we decrease the pH, increase the acid, then sometimes it comes with some astringency challenges, and we have used our technology Beverages to address some of the taste challenges we have, and also have a superior clarity. So be very convenient product for us to use to formulate around the high acid beverage range. Coming to share some of the concept we have developed. So first is a high protein electrolyte water. So this is a grape flavor with WPI, our Bevwise product, and with some electrolytes. So very good for hydration, sports recovery, for intra-workout or after workout recovery. Another concept we worked on is the high protein white peach juice. So this concept gives you 10 grams of high quality whey protein in the 250 gram serving size. And we use Bevwise here as well with natural peach juice concentrate. So very refreshing taste, suitable for breakfast and recovery for sports nutrition. Again, to blend a functionality with familiarity. And I want to mention as well that we share that whey protein, it can be sensitive to in combination with some natural extracts. So we have done a lot of study of whey protein with different type of juice concentrate. So if you're interested to add juice concentrate with protein and whey protein, you can talk to us and we're happy to share some of the finding we have. So this concept is a protein iced lemon tea, very well welcomed by our colleagues in our office. Very refreshing drink with protein as well with some iced lemon tea, a familiar product we like to drink in the summer. And we use Bevwise in this concept and in combination with black tea extract. So last concept with the Bevwise is whey protein jelly drink. So most of the concept we are trying to use whey protein's heat stability to make a stable beverage drink. And here we want to use the whey protein's gelling character. So instead of using stabilizer, you can see this product is made without stabilizer. We use whey protein's gelling property to create this soft and clear gel, and very suitable for a after sports workout or like as a healthy snack. So I hope you can see why you should choose Glanbia as your partner, because we are not just an ingredient supplier and we build around you. So first of all, we design our ingredients for the specific application. Here we consider all the necessary challenges we face for beverage product development, and we design our protein to address all these challenges we may face, so it will ease your application into the beverages. And secondly, we have a team of formulation expertise, and all this concept our team developed has be able to give you some ideas and cut down your development time. And we are able to help you to do some skill up if you need it and help you to link with the right co-packing partner. We are also very confident and proud about our ingredient consistency and quality, so that we are here to support you to reach your product's high quality standard. We also have a deep knowledge in the market insights. We have a Vicky from a global category management, and we also have Gerald for our region, and we also have an inside team that can provide you knowledge on the product launches, the consumer trends, ingredient trends, and market dynamic, and help you to make the very informative decisions. And last but not least, we have a very extensive ingredient portfolio, and we would like to co-innovate with you to work on the next future product development to stay ahead of the innovation curve. I want to share something with you is about our Singapore Collaboration Center. We have a collaboration center for our region in Singapore. It is a brand new facility that we opened in 2019 with a full-scale application and pilot plant processing lab capability. And our capability includes nutritional bars, baked goods, dairy products, sports nutrition, and today we focus on functional beverages. So specifically talking about our functional beverage capability, we can help you to do beverage prototyping. We have all the necessary equipment you can think of. And we also have a beverage pilot plant able to do UHT with indirect and direct heat treatment. I want to call out here, we also invested our holding time from 3 seconds to 8 minutes, because as we mentioned, protein is very sensitive to heat. And so we want to be able to partner with you to start from the beginning of the development to mimic as close as possible of your processing condition, your holding time, so that during the scale up, we'll face a lot less surprises. And we also invested in our analytical capability. So we have a titrator or particle size meter. We also have a rheometer, centrifuge, and all this necessary analytical capability for beverage development. So if you come to work with us in our collaboration center, we'll be able to do prototyping with you, pilot plant trial, and straight away we can use our analytical capability to start our shelf life monitoring straight away. So now I hope you can see why Glanbia is not just an ingredient company. We build around you and we want to co-innovate with you. So functional beverage innovative ideas can really be endless with Glanbia's very extensive ingredient portfolio. And now whey protein-based high protein beverages is also possible with innovative and innovation in ingredients. So our team created all these concepts to capture Asian consumers' taste preferences, as well as reflecting the latest market trends. And all this concept has been proven to be stable, and we hope this can give you a very good starting point for your product development to cut down some of your development time. If you liked any of this concept, I want to mention that we will be very happy to share the prototype with you, to taste together with you, and to have more deeper discussion. So please feel free to contact our account managers. So we will arrange a prototype tasting session with you right away. With that said, and this ends my sharing part. I'll hold it back to Farida.
All right. Thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Vicky, for your presentation. We'll head straight for the panel discussion, and we'll bring back Vicky as well as Edgar, who are going to be all set to answer your questions. So let me just quit sharing my screen. Okay. If everyone could unmute themselves. Okay, we'll head to the first question, which is, what makes a food or beverage functional? And I think this could go to Vicky. If you could answer this question, please.
Yeah, sure. I think the best way I'd like to answer that is if a food or beverage that provides some kind of benefit would be considered a functional food or beverage. So as an example, so we talked about energy drinks, right? You take water, you put a caffeine in it, and it gives you an energy component. So that gives you the functionality. So something different than a standard beverage. So your standard beverages would be your water, your juices, your sodas. So if you add some kind of a benefit to it, a benefit that helps consumer in one way or another. If you're adding vitamin or minerals to that composition, that becomes a functional beverage. If you're adding protein to that food or beverage composition, that becomes a functional beverage. So anything that can provide a benefit, and you can see it from a nutritional value as well.
Okay, thanks, Vicky. We also have a question from the floor. Glanbia has a lot of ingredients, and the Singapore lab has very impressive capability for beverage innovation. So what is the process if someone were to ask for a new product development collaboration? I'll hand this question over to Edgar, if you could answer.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks. So very good question. I think Shayu before was a bit summarizing that. So yeah, basically we have a lot of ingredients. We have Singapore lab. So the idea is to use those prototypes which has been developed by the lab to show you what can be done to guide you in the right direction. And from there, we are trying to narrow a bit the scope of the product you want to develop, the market you want to cover, and then we can collaborate together in the lab to see if we want to develop a kind of, let's say, a neutral pH, more like dairy high protein drink, or something like based on high acid clear protein drink, and we can start developing something with you. We will be really focusing on our side on the performance in terms of organoleptic properties and process, which means like some shelf life stability in our incubators. And then we can, from there, show you and collaborate with you on developing these final products and prototyping, and potentially guide you to a co-packer, to a co-manufacturer if you need some contacts, or help you directly if you have your own manufacturing facility. So basically, I mean, you on your side, most of the time you are the specialist of the beverage, but on our side, we are the specialist of the protein. So the idea is really to help you developing a beverage using whey protein based on the knowledge we have using whey protein. So I hope this answered the question.
Thanks, Edgar. So while we're on the topic of proteins, I think this question would go to Shari. What's the average protein level of a high protein RTD that you see in the AsPac market?
Oh, thank you, Farida. That's a very good question. So high protein beverage in AsPac compared to mature market in the US or Europe maybe still are evolving. So in US, a lot of drink we see can go up as like 10%. It's a very mature market. Whereas in AsPac, we have been watching very closely to all the new product launches. And so for example, in some market like Korea and Japan, there are already some protein beverages there. And I would like to say maybe start from plus minus 6% is a lot where we see some product launches around, where this is also become an area that using functional protein can become critical, because at a low level perhaps you can formulate easier, whereas when you have a higher protein level around 5-6%, you really can see some shelf life challenges if we miss out some formulation or processing details. So I hope that answered the question.
Thanks, Sherry. We have a question that just came in. What is the potential for growth in the market share of water kefir in the Asian and Australian markets? I think, Vicky, could you?
Yeah, sorry, Farida, I didn't catch that. Can you just repeat the question?
What is the potential for growth in the market share of water kefir in the Asian and Australian markets?
For kefir, is that did I
Yes,
understand that
correct.
right? For
Yeah.
kefir?
Yeah.
I think the kefir category will align itself with kind of the yogurt beverage market. So if we go back into the the category growth rates, it was somewhere around 7%. It's in the deck. So I would say somewhere around 7% would be the growth rate. So we know that that's a big strong market in Asia, and we know it has even higher potential growing. And from a global perspective, that market is driven by Asia, and those trends are now infiltrated into the rest of the global markets.
Okay, thanks, Vicky. And one more for, I think, you as well, Vicky. Do you see any strong market demand for modified functional herbal drink in Indonesia, for example, modernized jamu? If so, is the demand quite high or stable in the long term, or just for short term as we start entering endemic of COVID? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for Indonesia, we probably need to do a little bit of research. I don't have any data on that offhand, but we'll certainly, whoever posed that question will be happy to give you some more information. We have a very strong insights team where we get all this information and we tap into their knowledge of global beverage trends and just in general what's happening in beverages, and we relate it back to kind of how we see the market. So I'll be happy to get some more information on that. At top of mind, I don't have that answer.
Okay, thanks, Vicky. Perhaps one last question. Can we share the potential of high protein in the Vietnam market? Like, would you happen to have any numbers off the top of your head for that?
No numbers top of mind again, but I'm sure we can dig those up as we are pulling the numbers from just the from the global market perspective.
Okay. Oh, okay, I think we have time for one more. Is it possible to use Optisol 105 for pH 5 to 6 beverage? I think Sherry, could you answer that?
I would say it need to be depends on the protein concentration, what the other ingredients and the process, and where the product will be placed is a long shelf life or short shelf life product. I want to say Optisol 105 is a very unique product, and we can see it's really able to apply into many applications. So for example, we tried cream sauces, and some prepared meal or acidified drink range. So I'm happy to have a detailed discussion to get more details about the concept, the ingredient, the processing, the pH concentration. Then we can address it from there. Yeah, I like to say I have a good hope of Optisol. It's a very versatile product.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. So I think we've come, it's already 11 o'clock. So if anyone has any more questions, you can just send it directly to us or contact our BDM from whichever region that you are. So we'd like to thank you for coming to this webinar, and thank you for being so attentive and for all your questions. And this webinar is part of a series of webinars, as always, as the GN recommends series of webinars. So we'll be having a few more towards the end of the year. So we hope to see you again then. So thank you, everybody, and thank you from us, the GN team. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.